Welcome back to another SCP reading, everyone. Today, we'll be reading SCP-129, Progressive Fungal Infection. Now, without further ado. Item number, SCP-129, Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. 129 is at large in the world and infects large numbers of humans and animals daily. As such, containment efforts are focused on treatment of infected individuals and on eradication of any or all members of species of 129. Although at least 98% of the world's population harbors a natural immunity to one or more species of 129, outbreaks that reach stage 3 or higher, described below, must be contained as quickly as possible, with infected individuals quarantined under highest risk contagion protocols. See document 129-A-1 for further information. In the event of stage 4 or 5 outbreak, in addition to the above procedures,
Data redacted.
as described in document 129-A-2, level 4 clearance required. Description: 129 is a series of at least tens of different species of fungus that can infect any animal with mucosal membranes. Infection by 129 can pass through up to 5 stages, depending on exposure to further member species of 129, individual resistance, and other factors, with each stage of infection facilitating progression to the next stage by weakening the individual's resistance to subsequent infection. Due to a combination of historical events, most humans and animals are naturally immune to 129-4 through 129-
Data redacted.
Therefore, outbreaks of stage 3 infections are quite rare, but have the potential for widespread infection if not swiftly isolated and contained. All known cases of 129 have followed the below 5-stage progression, although
Data redacted.
possibly due to mutation. Stage 1. The first organism, SCP-129-01, attacks the victim's mucosal membranes, multiplying quickly and unobtrusively. A faint yeast-like smell might be detected, but beyond that, 129-01 is asymptomatic. A second organism, 129-02, can then infect the host, causing the victim to experience symptoms identical to those of acute viral nasopharyngitis, the common cold. The decreased efficiency of the human's immune system due to the infection from SCP-129-02 allows SCP-129-01 to become entrenched further. 129-01 and -02 generally leave the host body within 4 to 6 days, though both species are fairly widespread and most of the population has little to no protection against either organism. They pose little danger themselves, except to facilitate infection by SCP-129-03. Stage 2. Although SCP-129-03 is usually stopped by natural mucus, Stage 1 infection changes the composition of the host's mucus so that the host is significantly less resistant to 129-03. Once established in the host, 129-03 alters the host's mucus, lymph, and blood such that other species of SCP-129 can thrive in the host. Symptoms of Stage 2 infection include greatly increased mucus production, a nagging cough due to excess phlegm, a low-grade fever, increased sweating and salivating, a somewhat increased preference for vegetables, and the complaint that certain fruit juices taste odd. Infection by SCP-129-03 generally lasts anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 months before being driven out by the immune system, unless the host enters Stage 3 infection. At least
Data redacted.
% of all humans have experienced Stage 2 infection at some point, but due to natural immunities, in spite of Stage 2 infection, and the relative rarity of Stage 3 species, less than
Data redacted.
% of that
Data redacted.
have passed into Stage 3. Stage 3. In the absence of SCP-129-03, nearly all animals are immune to the 3 species that cause Stage 3 infection. However, a small number of Stage 2 victims can become infected with one or more of these species. In these cases, the fungal infections become entrenched in the host and cannot be removed without extraordinary measures. Individually, the 3 Stage 3 species elicit different symptoms in the host. SCP-129-04 causes increased tear production, lacrimation, slight yellowing of the eyes,
Data redacted.
SCP-129-05,
Data redacted.
causing the host's nails to thicken and significantly increasing earwax production. 129-06,
Data redacted.
in particular, bright yellow urine and small pellets in the host's feces, both of which smell strongly of yeast. However, a victim who becomes infected with all three of these species will, within hours, develop flu-like or worse symptoms and become bedridden for 3 to 5 weeks. Afterwards, though the victim appears to have fully recovered, in actuality, 129 has spread throughout all systems in the host's body, marking passage into Stage 4. Stage 4. Victims who reach Stage 4 appear generally healthy and indeed may be more lively and energetic than at any time since first contracting SCP-129. In actuality, SCP-129-01 through 06 have spread throughout the host's body, completely infiltrating the subject's immune, respiratory, circulatory, reproductive,
Data redacted.
and central nervous systems. Mycelia from SCP-129 species also permeate the host's skin and replace some percentage, up to,
Data redacted.
of the host's hair. These hyphae, which are nearly indistinguishable from the host's natural hair, are used to propagate SCP-129 to other hosts. Any potential host that comes in contact with shed-off hyphae has a 90%
Data redacted.
chance of becoming infected with SCP-129. Hyphae seems to be equally contagious from any part of the host's body, although,
Data redacted.
if sexually transmitted due to,
Data redacted.
despite, or perhaps because of, increased susceptibility to SCP-129, Stage 4 victims are much more resistant to viral and bacterial pathogens than uninfected subjects. All known subjects who have reached Stage 4 have either progressed to Stage 5 or died within
Data redacted.
weeks. Stage 5. Symptoms of Stage 5 infection depend on a variety of factors, including the particular Stage 5 species that are present, as well as genetic, psychological, environmental, and any other number of unknown factors. However, as in Stage 4, all Stage 5 victims are highly contagious and can infect victims who had previously shown complete immunity. Notable manifestations of Stage 5 symptoms. February, year censored. Witnesses riding in a commuter train car describe a woman suddenly blowing up like a balloon and exploding, but instead of blood and viscera, the contents of the car were covered in spores and filaments. Analysis later showed that the victim was infected with SCP-129-09-14 and dash.
Data redacted.
All persons and objects in the affected area were quarantined, euthanized, and incinerated per protocol. Hundreds of civilian casualties, including tens of Foundation personnel. May, year censored. Following a string of disappearances in
Data redacted.
were tracked to a cave several kilometers from town. Inside, investigators found several pulsating mounds of flesh and vegetative material. Although most were unrecognizable, a few of the entities retained some human characteristics and were identified as some of the missing citizens. Researchers theorize that victims of this combination of SCP-129 would interact normally with the populace, attempting to infect others, until after a period of time, they would come to the cave. How and why they were brought here is not known. Upon arrival, the victims would be changed into the pulsating vegetative flesh mounds, which appear to be organisms modified to provide a long-term source of sustenance for SCP-129. Analysis suggests that the flesh mounds could potentially live for hundreds of years. Autopsy revealed the presence of SCP-129-10, -11, -14, and
Data redacted.
site quarantined and sanitized as per protocol. Tens of known casualties.
Data redacted.
Well, I have had enough of fungus in my life to know that I do not want this. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. It's been a joy and a fun little SCP. Good luck out there, and make sure to get yourself some good sleep.